So this is a somewhat philosophical question. It's one that my business partners and I talk about a whole lot. But it's how has cloud and the term and the technologies that we're now using around it changed the perception of the data center, right? And how it impacts our world today. Who's up for it? The data center used to be this, it was where IT lived. It was what everybody thought, that's where it was. Now in the cloud, how from thinking about it from a scale matrix perspective or from any other data center operator perspective, how do you think customers are now viewing the data center now that cloud is what it is? David from Dell?
So I think from a human resource perspective and from an IT resource perspective, those that are involved in the environment, it's a conversation that we have consistently and regularly with our customers to say, can you better utilize your IT staff that you have? A data center is not a threat to what's going on inside your IT staff itself. It's how do I enable that IT staff to become more efficient? What are the critical business paths that my resources need to work on in order to get there? Instead of just being concerned with keeping the lights on and maintaining the blinking lights in the data center, if we can leverage a cloud infrastructure, make them more elastic, and utilize those highly skilled, highly tenured IT folks to be focused on my critical business needs, and that brings IT to the table. And we've talked about how dramatically IT has changed. In years past, it was, here are my business decisions that I'm trying to make for my business, and now that I'm done, let me go engage IT so they can solve this for me. Now it brings IT much higher up the chain to say, our business critical decisions that we're making to build the bigger, better widget can't be made without IT in the discussion. And that's what I think the change in the data center and how cloud's affected that for sure.
Absolutely, yeah. I'm thinking about it. Yeah, Derek?
I think just building on that, early on from an outsourced data center kind of a mentality or a cloud-based service, people were afraid of it. The IT organizations would look at it and they would say, oh, this is threatening my job, to your point. This is going to be, it's not going to be as good. I'm not going to have access into my services. There's all these fears that everyone has generated. Now things have evolved so much. You look at the access to services, the capabilities that a cloud-based offering can bring you that you could never as an enterprise afford to build on your own. And now it becomes a differentiator and it becomes a huge asset to you. Because now you can, to your point, you can go through and say, how's this going to help me? So, wow, this is great. I can do this, I can do distributed remote backup capabilities, to multiple different locations in the United States. And it's just an extra line item on the service capability that I can have. And now I can look at cloud services. It used to be we'd look to one thing for cloud services. Let me go get storage. Let me go get compute capabilities. Now it's so much bigger than that. You're going to start seeing, and some of the talks later today are going to talk about this as well, I'm going to have storage, I'm going to have compute capabilities, I'm going to have a whole variety of different services, public and private cloud capabilities that are all going to have to be integrated in together. And so again, it's evolving from being wow, my boss told me that it would be cheaper if we go outsource something, into truly being an advantage that you can have in your business.
Absolutely.
One of our roles as vendors is to be responsible to you and your needs, right? So as we retool, and what we call the software-defined data center or software-defined networking, software-defined storage, all these terms are essentially aiming towards a utility opportunity at some time in our future. I'm not sure when, but we need to be at the point where you don't really care what number of vendors are behind the scenes. We'll let Chris and his team present the right solutions with the right vendors, and those vendors together work very closely. Our ecosystems, we're all partners to some degree, and making sure that we do our job, which is making sure the technologies that we offer you does what they're supposed to. But your goal at the end is not to have to be a vendor decider, but more a service solution that you're looking for and choosing it from the right partner.
Sure. Yeah, Derek.
Sorry, I can throw one more in.
Please.
Another big differentiator when you look at a service going to a data center, if you again go back to a classic enterprise model, you used to have to get your IT team together. You'd have to go develop expertise on every single one of these areas. Part of the whole reason of all of us sitting here at the table is we're all already part of a pre-engineered stack that exists at a place like Scale Matrix. So if you think about the hours and hours of R&D work and cooperative work that ends up happening on that, and that's part of the advantage you get when you go to some of these integrated cloud-based services.
Yeah. Yeah, our goal at Scale Matrix obviously is to bring the talents and capabilities of all these different capabilities into the Scale Matrix stack so that customers can obviously more easily consume and utilize those services. Obviously, deployment is more rapid, utilization is easier, right? And we've got the subject matter experts on team leveraging partners like you to help make those technologies simpler and easier to consume. So,
And they work.
and they work, right? If you walk around the show sometime today, you'll look, we've got 7 different cloud success stories kind of broken down for you. Each one of those tells a story of one of our clients and how they made the migration to the cloud. Stop and take a look at some of those, because it talks about some of the folks that were, at larger colocation companies, at legacy cloud companies, at Amazon, and it talks about why they chose to make a transition. And a lot of the reasons you'll see common threads between all those different stories are because we were able to very simply and easily integrate all of the services from this stack here for our customers' benefit. So take a moment and look at those as you walk around the show tonight.